right now so that we can discuss what we've just heard. So I will take a motion to reopen the meeting. Motion by Jeremy, a second to that. Sherry down the end. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? None. Carries. Okay, so the question that came to us was, do we want to take a position on this and put our stamp as to recommend or not recommend? I will take a motion either way, and we can have discussion at that point.
I'll make a motion to recommend.
Motion by Ed to recommend. Second by Sherry. Was that Sherry down the end? Mm-hmm. By Sherry. Any discussion there?
The motion is to go away.
The motion would be to recommend the article to repeal SB2.
Sherry.
Okay, so please, that's why I wanted to be back in an open meeting so that people could hear it. So
I don't think it's necessary to let people know how we feel about it. This is what they brought this to us, and we're putting it out there for them to vote. I don't think it's necessary for us to put any recommendation either way on it. I don't think that's fair.
okay. Other?
I think any recommendation that comes from the board is going to be from an individual standpoint,
Right.
instead of a majority standpoint. And certainly this board changes. You know, we have an election coming up, so what all of us agree on today could be different a few months from now. Personally, I would, recommend, because there is not a lot of involvement. There's a lot of people that come to these meetings during budget time and ask a lot of questions, but haven't listened the entire year when we've had meetings. And I think an informed community is a better community. So, yes.
Yep. So,
yes, I would.
Jeremy, thoughts, concerns?
I just think we owe it to the taxpayers as a board to either recommend or not recommend.
Okay.
That's my take on it.
Yep. Ed, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I've definitely heard, and I really agree with Mr. Dubois. I like the idea of having a deliberative session, but I also want the public to be more informed and come to more than just 2 meetings a year, personally. My hope is that the town meeting style will do that, because the SB2, since I've been on the board for 4 years, has not.
People are going to look at this and look to us for their recommendation, and I don't think it's fair that we're putting our personal opinions in this.
Okay. I understand that. I think we've put this up. Personally, I'll say I recommend repealing SB2. I've talked about it for many years. I was part of the recommendation years ago when it came as a petition warrant article. The declining involvement that we've had has been catastrophic at times. I think I've been at deliberative sessions where there were 3 people, 4 people in the room who didn't have to be there. When you exclude the supervisors of the checklist and the camera crew and the moderator and the board and the budget committee, there were 2 or 3 people sitting in the audience. I've been to Tamworth and I've been to Freedom's school district meetings, and they've been more well attended. And there's been a lot of good discussion at those meetings. So personally, I would recommend taking a position here. So I have a motion on the floor and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor to recommend.
Why?
What?
Well, we've already discussed this a few times, so that's another thing. I don't know why we're changing our minds now.
We're just taking a position.
Right, but we did. We said we weren't going to take a position on this, and now we are. So I'm just confused, I guess, as to.
Yep. Okay.
And I'm not saying I'm either way. I just
Right.
don't think it's right to put people on the spot like that either.
Okay.
So, and I don't really.
What is
Okay.
the thing that having a town meeting, you're going to get more participation in the township? Every township is different. I've been on the boards for ski clubs. I've been on the boards for sailing clubs. We have the same issues with private clubs. Okay? The way to get people more involved is how? Not by basically crushing it into just having that town meeting and everything is deliberative and everything can be changed on that one day. If
and attendance immediately collapses. And the question was, why does it drop off? And it's very simple. You have to make a decision at a traditional meeting. You make no decision. It's a waste of time. And the budgets that you have, the default budget and the others are the same, roughly the same. And the attendees, as you say, are a tiny number of people and frequently are those most closely associated with the school district, and you don't get a very broad reception. So we have a long history that proves as soon as SB2 came into effect, the attendance at the deliberative session collapsed.
Donna, there you again. I was at the school board meeting when you voted not to take a stand on it. And I think that squelched the conversation from the visitors because they saw your vote. You didn't take a vote on it, so there was no pro and con. And so what are those people supposed to think that were at that meeting and they didn't have a chance to dialogue with you?
That's what the public hearing tonight was for, and it was
No,
the public hearing tonight was very specifically posted for this purpose only, based on the RSA that required us to have the public hearing.
Informational.
That is correct, and we made our vote on everything else after the public hearing on the warrant. So we heard everybody's concerns and discussions related to all of the warrant articles and numbers, and we did not discuss SB2 that night. We very limited discussed SB2 that night because we had a hearing on it this evening.
I was under the impression you voted not to take a stand on it. That was the end of the discussion. And that's what the visitors thought too. So they didn't have a dialogue with you. So just a point made.
Thank you. Yes, Sherry?
I could be wrong, but I think another reason we didn't take a position that night was we weren't sure legally.
If we could.
If we could. That is true. During the meeting, we did not know if we legally could, and tonight.
And even at the deliberative session, the attorney was still looking into it.
And then tonight, at this meeting, someone did step up and ask, would we take a position that would be meaningful? So we as a board decided that we would. And it is legal.
Any other discussion?
Marcia McKenna. I think we also have to consider the people who attend these meetings. I think the ratio of people over 50 to those under 50 is really tipping towards the over 50 people who attend these meetings. And the younger people gain their information now in a more digital format. They're watching YouTube channels, they're watching the live stream TV, they're listening on their devices. So I don't think we can say with any real surety that people are uninformed. I think because we offer so many different formats to have information, that the younger people, because they're more prone or they're more more used to their information coming in a different format, are informed. And I think if they also have the opportunity to participate or say things if they want to, but I find them becoming more isolated anyway. But I really don't have a lot of faith that, I mean, if 200 people came to a school board, traditional school board meeting, that's still a fraction of the voting population in the town. We have a larger voting population, and I want to believe that they are informed because they are educating themselves through different formats than the actual meeting format.
Going in uninformed and checking boxes.
And you're not going to change that because those people aren't going to come and participate anyway. I mean, I'm sorry, but I think that's...
Quick question, please. Why has Why have you decided to reconsider your vote?
Somebody asked us.
Because we were asked to reconsider our vote.
You were asked,
We were this evening here, asked during the public hearing if we were going to take a position, which is asking us to
Okay.
reconsider our vote.
okay, I've been voting in Madison for 3 decades, plus or minus, and it's always been the position for the town and the school to not take a position on non-monetary articles. That's the history. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussions? I'm going to call it a vote. All in favor of recommending Article, what is it, 9, to repeal SB2, say aye. Aye. Any opposed or opposed? Or abstaining, and can you just explain why you're abstaining, please?
Because I don't think it's appropriate for us to put a recommendation on that.
Fair enough, thank you. So it will read as recommended by the board, 4 in favor, no opposed, 1 abstention. Any other business? Seeing none, I will take a motion to adjourn. 6:54, motion to adjourn, second. All in favor? Aye.